you're just tackling too hard. Maybe just try to tackle not so hard next time. Just don't hit each other as hard. You're just running too fast. Maybe just run slower, or don't try so hard. Your little hamstrings are like breaking and snapping like the strings on my banjo. You're just jumping and playing too hard. Why do you have to jump so high and do the thing with the balls? Just little bunny hops. Don't jump. Don't leap. Just don't jump so high. Now you're just throwing entirely too fast. It'd be safer if you just didn't throw as fast. Just not so fast, not so hard. Now do you see how fucking stupid that sounds? Don't try so hard in life because something might happen to you. What planet would that ever be? And there's so many hands in the pot because there's so much money involved. And when there's money involved or there's something at stake, we try to protect and we want to pave the roads instead of getting people to prepare themselves to drive. We want to soup up the cars so we can pave the roads, soup the cars so the moron behind the wheel can just do whatever he wants. And all we have are passionate, creative, skilled, talented people wanting to express life at the greatest level. And we're telling them not to do it as much. So now, instead of having these umbrella organizations trying to figure it out for anybody and trying to save anybody, just like if there was a wave of a healing response that all looked the same and we're all going to be like, what's wrong with the outside? What's going on? We would want to go into each individual and see why each individual can't do what they're asking themselves to do to the level that they're prepared at. And we have to go into every inch of their lives and we have to go and assess everything that they're doing, not just micromanage food, sleep, light, sleeping devices, heart rate variability, training, recovery. Recovery is one of the biggest ones. The therapies, the treatments, all the shit to shut down the body's warning system before the big stuff happens, like tears and breaks and dislocations and avulsions. Because again, water warms before it boils. The body will warm before it boils. So things don't just start breaking like springs. They will literally warn you, but we don't have any warning system because now we've come in and we're just shutting it all down with therapies and treatments. And we've got cutting edge all the time coming out. New treatments. So all the warnings prior to that big moment, you have totally blocked out. You have totally over therapied, treated. You have over supplemented. You have over herbed. You have over recovered. You have over body worked. You have over energy worked. You have overthought. Nobody can feel anything. The individual has no clue what's going on, and all they want to do is play this sport. But the individual isn't at stake. The individual isn't the captain anymore. The individual isn't. It's offer it out to somebody. I've got something going on in my arm or my leg or my calf or my head. I'm feeling this. Oh, you can't feel that. But I am feeling it. But that's wrong. That's disease. Something's wrong with you. All right, let's get rid of that feeling. Let's go in with therapies and treatments. Get rid of that feeling. Get rid of it. You can't feel that. And then we continue to do this. And then 3 years later or 3 months later or 10 years later, all of a sudden there's a bigger response and we're surprised. This is no different than if it were an immune response or if it were an endocrine response or it were a reproductive response or it were a bone cardiac response or a brain response or a nervous system response. It's no different. But to even think that we could say, live life less and you'll be protected, are we surprised that that would be the solution at the highest level? Apparently the highest level of sports and what it's become now. Are we that surprised? So again, when you go into what's going on with their elbow, what's going on with their knee, what's going on with their brain and skull, what's going on with their Achilles, hamstring, ankle, hips, what's going on in their lives. The person who is experiencing that also has other sensations. They can't digest this. They don't sleep well when this occurs. They're doing this in their relationships. They also have this symptomatic response. They have this skin response. They have this in their immune. They have this. Go in and have that person. How would they go ahead and solve all that? The individual is going to have to go ahead and take a look at their lives. They're going to go ahead and take full accountability and responsibility. But it's become so much of a where it was like we do all the work on our own, we do so much, and then if we have a sensation, we work in this area to come back, and rest might be, but now it's not that. It's any sensation. Okay, everybody lock it out, block it out, fix it. And the individuals are just these mindless, passionate, creative, talented. I don't want to take away from them because they're amazing at what they do, but we're just dumbing them down so much that it's just like, duh, save me. And then when their body responds perfectly to how they're living and the level that they're trying to do and the things that they're trying to do, which all makes sense. Again, injuries aren't random and healing responses aren't random and symptoms aren't random. They're not just because. And they will never show up in a study or a scientific background of any kind because you didn't measure that person. So again, until we get to where we have the individual at play, the individual is going to have to go in and look at every single inch of their life to go in to see what needs to be changed. And I can guarantee you, it's not going to be training, light, nourishment, sleep, or anything in those realms. Are those important? Of course they are. Of course they are. But the solution's not going to sit there. It's going to have to get even more because all we've done is perverted those specific things to draw out what we have now. And we have humans screaming, bodies screaming that things need to change. And then in this scream, they're screaming to the individual, and the individual's like, I hear you, I don't want to hear you, or I hear you, I don't know what to do. I'm in complete conflict. Or the individual's like, this doesn't feel right. And that's in the history of me in clinical practice. You usually had people who would come to us, they're just like, I don't feel like the team knows what's going on. I don't feel like the organization knows what's going on. I don't feel like my team of fucking people knows what's going on. I don't think the guys and girls that come to my house with all the treatments and stuff, it doesn't seem to be working. All right, then let's try something else. And then you go ahead and break all of it down why that wouldn't be working and would never work. Because what works, what doesn't, always. Across the board. Repeatable. It's not age dependent. It's not injury dependent. It's not tissue dependent. It's not system dependent. Like, oh, that's good for hormones, but that's good for immune. No, it's across the board. And so again, you get these people to get to that point, and then they're like, okay, I'm ready. I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to go ahead and take control of this entire thing and put me back at the leadership role. And until that happens, get ready, because it's going to get a whole lot worse, disgusting. It's not even fun to watch this shit anymore. So yeah, hope you got a little bit of comedic relief, as much as I did making it, but then as irritated as I get even thinking that this is part of the solution. But just wait. It is no different whether you are healing an immune response, an endocrine response, a bone response, or an injury response. They're all coming from the same place, and they all are going to need all individual approaches. It will never be from the group. It will never be sourced from the team. And another thing, when you join your team and you get together with your team, I thought this was understood, but apparently not. All working with the team is just an expression of all the other shit you've been doing in your life to showcase what you've been doing with the group. Not, I get to the level I get to because I'm doing it with the group. The group's not going to change you. The team practices aren't going to change you. The group aspect isn't where the changes are made. Even if 168 hours in a week and you're with your team, 40 or however many hours it is, all right, that's even still on the higher end. You're lopsided to where who's the one with you the most? You. Who's the one that hears you the most? You. Who's the one that feels you the most? You. Who's the one that needs to get back to? Who's the one participating with the team? You. Who's the one the team is counting on as a single cog in this whole engine? You. And if you can't hold up your end of the bargain, boom, we're out. So I get it. It's a business. I fucking love it. It should be a business. It should hold the people accountable. But this whole group saving the individual is not going to happen. And it's going to get so much more fucked up than the embarrassing beginning of this video that I made as a satire, but is full well that is exactly what's coming down the pike. And there's people supporting this in the health world. So again, injuries aren't random, symptoms aren't random, things don't happen just because. The water warms before it boils. The body will warn before massive injury occurs. Are we shutting down the sensation of warming? Are we ignoring the warming? And what other elements of our life can we look in? And then how can we look to change everything about how we're putting ourselves in a position to be able to experience life at this level? Because we ain't doing well, and you can see it clearly at the highest level of sports. It's just another, again, finger off of the hole that we see in society, which I tried to tell when I released my book. It's the American de-evolution lifestyle, but even further than that, because when I published in 2018, we've gotten so much fucking worse, beyond worse. I mean, close to better. So now it's trickled up. 6 years later, that little group is now at the highest level, and we're seeing just another level of holy shit. So buckle up and get ready. But that's my take, my 2 cents. I like supporting things I didn't make. I like supporting things that always work. I like supporting things that are irrefutable. I like supporting things that we can count on 100% of the time. I like supporting things that I can put confidence in. I like supporting things that I can constantly test every single day, because the more I test it, the more it feeds back, the more I benefit from it, the less that fear seeps in, where it's like, oh, I can't count on my body. 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 Where's the fear? The fear won't be there on you not counting on your body. The only thing you'll be afraid of is, I don't know if I want to go in and look at what I need to change in my life, because this is going to be kind of gnarly and kind of hard and kind of exposing and kind of unsettling. And that's a level of fear I can get behind. That's what should be present. But this can't count on our bodies. That should never, ever be the case. Nothing's random. They don't just happen because. Injuries are all tied together. And a concussion, a torn hamstring, a avulsion, Achilles, TJ surgery, frozen shoulders, stress fractures and spines, you name it, they're all coming from the same place. There's not a separate protocol for each one that, oh, it's a different problem here, a different problem here, a different problem here, a different problem here. It has nothing to do with that. It's just bodies asking for change. And until the individuals go back in the forefront, put themselves in the front of the line, we ain't gonna see anything. And so buckle up, because it's gonna get gnarly.